Chelsea Football Club, have you hinted at who's going to be your new number 9 next season? Because Victor Gyökeres' agent was at Stamford Bridge and he was sitting in the box of Todd Bowley and Blueco. Very interesting. Furthermore, Carney and Casadei have been added back into the squad. And what does this actually mean for them? It's actually very positive news if you're a fan of Carney and Casadei. And finally, a lot of people have been panicking during this international break because they're saying we're not good enough. What is happening is what happened last year. Well, we've got the underlying numbers that we can dive into, which is suggesting otherwise. We've got the underlying numbers that are telling us that we are going to be fine. Yes, it's a small sample size, but at the international breaks, I always like to take a look at those to see what we've been doing. Is it sustainable, or are we just falling away and fooling ourselves? And I will tell you which players have went on international duty. So if you want to keep up with Chelsea and watch the games and know that one of our boys is going to be playing, we can keep tabs on them. But before we get started, I need you lot to do me a massive favor. And right now, hit the like button. 1,000 likes pushes this video out to many more people. And it's like coming home, right? First thing you do, wash your hands. You start a Kavkas View video, first thing you do, hit that like button. Genuinely helps a lot, especially if you're a regular watcher. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel because I deliver the news in a quick fashion. You keep up with your Chelsea dose, you get the nutrients you need, and you keep it stepping with the rest of your day. Who's got time to be sitting on YouTube all day? After this summer of chasing Victor Osimhen and not getting the player, rightly or wrongly so, depending on everyone's view, boy, did you lot get upset with the fact that I didn't want him, but it is what it is. Everyone's got their own opinion. As long as we keep it respectful, as long as we keep it honest, it's perfectly fine. However, during the Crystal Palace game, we saw the agent, that gentleman over there with the ball patch on his head. He is the agent of Victor Gyökeres and the agent of Nanesi. Nanesi is a Swedish player that plays on the left wing. He's recently joined Strasbourg and he's also the agent of Victor Gyökeres. We know Chelsea have had an interest in Gyökeres for ages, right? And a lot of people are gonna do 2 + 2 is equal to 4. Oh my God, he helped us sign Nanesi. He's going to help us sign Victor Gyökeres. Guys, I would say calm down before we get to that stage. Do we know that Chelsea are interested in? 100%. Do we think Chelsea are going to go and break the bank for him? Well, it's going to be a 70, 80 million euro deal, something Chelsea were willing to pay for Victor Osimhen. However, the player is on far less wages than Victor Osimhen. So are they going to be more willing to offer him the 150k net? They won't need to offer him that. They can literally give him what they were offering Victor Osimhen in base and then give him far less incentives and he's going to come, and it's one of those things, if Chelsea performs, if he performs, he gets more money. It's a simple transaction, right? The reality is there's going to be very big amount of competition for this player. This player smashed it in Portugal the first year. They won the league. They got to the cup final and lost. And they did okay in Europe. This time around, they're in the Champions League. They're absolutely taking the league by storm. They destroyed Porto the other day. I watched the game myself. He looks very competent. For those of you that have not seen him, at the end of the video, I've got a little clip for you guys. You can go watch that video. It breaks down Gyökeres' games in terms of strengths and weaknesses. And you can understand more about the player and how he would suit at Chelsea if we signed him. And finally, I just want to tell everyone to calm down, right? I don't think there is a direct link. Have we held discussions with his agent about Gyökeres? Most probably. Have we spoken to multiple agents? Definitely. And why was his agent at Stamford Bridge? Well, his agent was doing agent things, right? He was making sure he butters up to Chelsea, and Chelsea buttering up to an agent. If there's a deal to be made, it's easily done. That's my personal opinion. I don't think it means we're definitely signing Victor Gyökeres. Regarding players that are Chelsea players, well, Carney and Cesar Casadei are both reintegrated into first team training. Both players were on the outside with their futures not being at this moment in time at Chelsea Football Club because the club were willing to look at offers that come in for them, which I think is unfair purely based on the fact that you signed both players. Both players are part of your plans. Like this is the thing that I don't understand. With Chalobah, with Gallagher, with Sterling, with Lukaku, with Kepa, you've explicitly told them you're not part of our plan. I don't think this has been told to Carney nor Cesar Casadei, so it doesn't make sense how 1 minute they're not training with the first team, now they are training with the first team. It's not like they were the under-21s, they were with the players that were going to get sold. Like if you look at it, Datro Fofana has clearly been told, you're not going to be a Chelsea player, hence he's not been reintegrated. Angelo has been told clearly, you're not going to be a Chelsea player, hence he's been moved on. He's had multiple opportunities in pre-season to prove himself, he didn't. So it's just one of those things where those players are back in. How will they fit? my assumption is this way, right? Chelsea play a 4-3-3, basically. The left-hand side with Enzo, Caicedo, one of those profile players, will be the competition for Casadei. Casadei is going to compete with them, and he's going to play Conference League minutes with Drewsbury Hall and those lot. On the right-hand side is where the Palmer, the Nkunkus play. I think this is where Carney Casadei is going to compete. Personally, I think Carney could do both roles, and I actually think Carney can play in the double pivot. We've seen him do this for Chelsea under Frank Lampard. He looked very competent. He looked very tidy. However, for some reason, this is the third manager that views him as an attacking midfielder rather than a box-to-box. And it's a little bit frustrating, but what can you do about it? Chelsea's start to the season has not been the best, right? In terms of points. Performances, I would argue it's been a very good start to the season. Manchester City were not expected to beat. That's just our new level, sadly. I think they're the best team in the league, maybe in the world. So we competed against them. They beat us 2-0. The difference between the two teams was Erling Haaland. It's as simple as that. The victory against Wolves was a phenomenal performance in the second half. First half was topsy-turvy. However, we deserved to win. 6-2 was very pleasantly kind to us. The Crystal Palace performance, arguably, in my opinion, was the best 90 minutes performance we've put in. However, first 45 was excellent. Second 45 was topsy-turvy with moments where we lost control of the game and we conceded a stupid goal, which was a moment of brilliance, but it came from our petulance, right? However, what are the numbers saying? Because the reality is, one thing we know is analytics gives us a good indication of what our eyes are seeing. I think we're a team that can finish fourth. I would like to think we can push for third, but the way Liverpool have started, maybe I'm a little bit optimistic, right? However, these are the numbers. We are currently fourth in expected goals to concede, right? We are expected to concede 3.3 goals. We conceded 5. This means basically our players in goal have not been doing their job. Sanchez has not been doing his job because the expectation is he would have conceded 3 goals, but he conceded 5 instead. The teams ahead of us are Liverpool, Forest, and Manchester City, who are top. Makes sense. Man City have been unreal. Forest defensively have been strong. And Liverpool have been unreal as well. The second metric that tells us we are meant to be 6th is expected goals. Expected goals wise, we created 5.1. However, we scored 7. One thing I will say with this is we had huge amounts of expected goals against Palace. We didn't take it. Against Wolves, we weren't as creative. However, we should have been we scored ample amounts, so that balanced it out. Against Manchester City, if Jackson had his shooting boots on that day, we would have scored because Jackson had a 4-yard flick that didn't go in, and there was one where he didn't take a shot, and it was a tame effort at the end. So it's one of those things, right? After 3 games, statistics are pointing in a good form. Another statistic that I really like is the big chances created. We currently sit 3rd. We've created 11, and the only 2 teams that have created more than us are Liverpool and Manchester City. We are putting up numbers that are close to those teams. If we stay close to those teams, we are going to finish high up in this league. The reality is simple, right? Manchester City are the standard. Arsenal are the second best team in my opinion, and Liverpool are unknown quantity at the moment. We don't know whether it's because Man United were really bad and Ipswich and Brentford were newly promoted team and a team that basically had an off day, or Liverpool are really that good. And what we're seeing is, doesn't matter who the manager is, the quality is there in terms of Virgil, Trent, Alisson, Salah, Jota, Diaz, and we're just going to see a good team. So it's one of those things. We'll see what happens, and we'll track these numbers as the season goes on, and the next international break we'll track it again, and we'll see where we sit. But one thing is for certain, Chelsea need to start getting wins, because what that will do is that will give the confidence that I have to the rest of you. That will basically ease a lot of people's minds. If we beat Bournemouth and we go and beat West Ham at home, 6 points all of a sudden. Add 6 to the 3 that 4 we already have. That's 10 points after 50 out of 15. People will ease up. People will relax. And people will say, you know what, it's actually been a decent start to the season. 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. But let's take the next 5 games. And then we will grow as a club and as an institution. But at this moment in time, I understand why you're all stressed out. We've been scarred in the last 2 years. But Enzo Maresca wasn't here. And the performances we're seeing now, in my opinion, are better than the ones last year. The final piece of news is just an Interesting thing for all of you to know that for the next 2 weeks, there's going to be no club football. And a lot of you are addicts like me when it comes to watching football. So you're going to want to know where Chelsea players are, who's on loan, or who's training with the team, but more importantly, who's away on international duty so you can keep tabs on them. So with England, it's Colwell, Madueke, and Cole Palmer. All three are with Lee Carsley. That's going to be super exciting for anyone that wants to watch it. Portugal have got Neto, Felix and Viega that have all been called up. So it's going to be really nice to see however Roberto Martinez uses them and how he uses them. Then we've got Spain, who have called up Robert Sanchez, and Cucurella has gone as well. Very surprised Robert Sanchez has been called up, but at the same time, Kepa hasn't been playing much football, and Sanchez has had a solid start to the season according to some. Ukraine have called up Misha, Argentina called up Fernandez, Caicedo and Kendry Páez have been called up by Ecuador. This is the one that I'm always excited to keep tabs on because it's very difficult to understand Kendry's level. Because Kendry is in Ecuador, right? And the Ecuadorian league isn't to the standard of the Premier League. I don't think I'm offending anyone when I say that. However, the qualifications in South America are massively difficult. They're not the European qualifications, in my opinion. You're not going away to Andorra. You're not going away to Luxembourg. The places you go to, for example, Bolivia away, is at high altitude. It is different level of environment to play football in. It's different physically. So all the countries that they go to and play home and away, it's different types of tests, and these countries know each other very well because they play each other on a regular basis. So I really want to see what Kendry's like. Estevao has been called up for Brazil, which is wild. He's 17 years old. Being called up for a nation of that magnitude is crazy. And obviously our striker, Nicholas Jackson, has been called up for Senegal. And we will be keeping tabs, hoping that Senegal qualify to the World Cup. But it is what it is. This is the build-up. So like I said, the Gyökeres video is here for a breakdown of Victor Gyökeres' strengths and weaknesses and whether I think he'd fit Chelsea. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. 1,000 likes goes a long way. Subscribe to the channel. And like I always say, peace out. I'm out. Have a lovely day. Bye, bratuchi.